That would be me, asleep in the plane there in the back. That's not good. Greetings guys and girls and fellow gamers, this is Games for Kicks and welcome to Dead in Bermuda. It's a game by a company called CCCP, published by Plugin Digital. CCCP also were behind The Hospital Manager, released in February last year. It didn't do too well, but hey ho, so just to give you some context around the developer. However, Dead in Bermuda seems to be doing quite well. I think they're quite a small indie company, but this game has a lot of depth. Now, on the surface, the game is described as a very basic survival management game with RPG and adventure elements. You lead a team of 8 survivors from a plane crash, assign them to tasks, gain experience, develop your survival skills, research and craft new items, and explore the island to solve its mysteries. So you will see there's quite a lot of depth in it. So I've played the game actually on stream the other day. Now I didn't put the stream up because I don't like putting 2-hour things up, and I was ending up playing other games as well. So the few people that have seen it probably know what the game is already about. Now I will start a new game. I noticed you can't delete games. So when you go here, there's no option to delete previous games. So I have 2 save files, and day 14 is the furthest I got, and then everybody died. So and I think I would like to show you that game. So I'm gonna make a mini-series of about 3 episodes, I would say. Oh, can I actually overwrite this? Oh, yes. Okay, so that's good. So we're gonna do that, actually. So, yeah, so it's gonna be a mini-series, say about 3-4 episodes, something like that. And then we'll see how it goes. If you guys are interested to see more, and if I'm doing well, not dying, like not killing everybody before the 4th episode, so either 4 episodes approximately, or when I die. Alright, okay, so without further ado, let's get started. That would be me, asleep in the plane there in the back. That's not good. It's a wake-up call you don't want when you're asleep on a plane. Gathering survivors. Crying a lot. Recovering from the shock. Salvaging scattered goods. Very entertaining loading screen. Setting up a camp. Very good. Thank you. A few hours after the crash. Alejandro. Hey everyone, let's regroup and talk a bit. Alice. I'm not gonna do female voices because I would just sound like some crossbreed between human and alien probably. So thank you everyone for your help in making the camp. It's heartwarming to see we are sticking together after the, you know, the horror that happened. Let's take a moment to introduce ourselves since we may live together for a while now. I'm Alice, 45, and this is my husband Robert. We come from Montreal. I love hiking and cooking. Pleased to meet you all. Bob. You can call me Bob, guys. Don't know what to say. I like to tinker a bit at home. Oh, and going fishing on Sundays. Alejandro. Okay, thanks. So my name is Alejandro. I'm 32. You all know me, I think. I was the manager at the holiday resort you were staying in. It was my flight to my first holiday in 10 years. So yeah, you see, that's why holidays are bad. Oh, tough luck, man. Winters. Hi, I'm Dr. Bethany Winters, coming from London. If you need medical help, come see me. Okay, fair enough. Yuri, grunt. Okay, he has nothing to say. Silent, strong man. Ilyana. My dad doesn't speak much. Please excuse him. I'm Ilyana, 16. We're coming from a small village in Russia. Ah, and Julia married my dad last summer. So obviously Julia is not the mother. Oh, Julia. Hello. Everything already said. Don't expect me to reveal my age, or I should have to silence you forever. This is how I assume a Russian assassin speaks. I don't know. She looks very... I would be afraid of her. Jacob, are we finished? We're wasting precious time. We must organize ourselves. I'm Jacob, and I know how to survive in a hostile environment. I've been preparing for this eventuality all my life. I would like to believe that you're not crazy, and that you are not one of those people who prep in their back garden for the end of days, but we'll see. While you were all uselessly crying, I went around and found a large water tank containing clear water and enough resources to make a fire. You better want to be highly intelligent, because only then you get away with being socially completely rude. While you are uselessly crying, that is so direct, I suppose. Alejandro, you're right, Jacob. But before that, I suggest that we take a moment of silence in the honor of those who didn't survive the crash. They will haunt my nights until I leave this world. Okay, you have a discussion results. Effects. We got 10 wood, 2 stone, 1 tinder. Alejandro's depressed. Okay, everybody basically gained depression because obviously they just came from a plane crash and there was nothing cheery about that, and they just had to pray for the dead people. I have the tutorial on so we can all see how it works. You can read all this in a lot of detail in your own time. What it basically wants me to do now is it's introducing me to the drag and drop features of the game, and it wants me to move a character from the campfire to the scavenging slot at the plane. So each of those characters has numbers. It looks a bit confusing when you have it like that, but basically it shows you when you are at the campfire and you hover over the middle of the campfire, it shows you the statistics that people have issues with. So if somebody isn't depressed, it wouldn't show you their depression slider. Okay, so you can see now here they're all depressed, and you can see the relevant statistics to the campfire basically. Yeah, so that's how it is. So for when you're around the campfire, depression and discussions are very important, and we can see them now. Each person has a hunger, sickness, depression, and fatigue and injury statistic. Any of them go to 100%, boom, they're dead. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's injury, fatigue, depression, or sickness. If there's depression, I suppose they jump off a cliff like in just Geronimo and leave it like that. So then we have skills. The skills are basically divided into 4 sections: physical, mentally, utility, and food. Now, physical is basically, as you imagine, your strength, your fighting, your constitution. You can highlight over these things and it actually shows you the higher your constitution, for example, the lower the risk of sickness and injury, and it decreases fatigue by 20 to 30 when taking a nap. So later on I show you that you can go for sleeps when you get to higher fatigue, and you get a bonus. The more your constitution you have, the higher your fatigue decrease becomes when you sleep. It has plus 0% to constitution-based action efficiency. Like any action that you do anywhere in the game that would require constitution as a base value, you would get the bonus. Now you can see that when fighting, for example, you get a minus 12% for fighting base actions efficiency. So I assume that's like, yeah, there's when you get into a fight, there's like a baseline number and it's deducting 12%. Now if you raise this higher, obviously 50 then sets it to neutral. And if you're above 50, you all of a sudden get positive effects. Like you can see in discussion, for example, like Alejandro is very good in discussions, and he gets a plus 20% to discussion-based actions. So anything over 50 gives you a plus bonus. Now these statistics are pretty much randomly assigned to the people. I think a few of them is pretty much set in stone, but the rest is randomly generated. So we're not getting too much into it. I just wanted to show you the division of the skills. So there is actually a lot of depth in this game. Now also each character can have an info sheet. On the info sheet of the character you can see their biography and their traits. So in this case, Jacob had a bad feeling this morning when he boarded the flight, and he was right. No one listened. They're all morons in any case. No one is prepared to survive in a hostile environment like he is. He knew that someday he would only be able to count on himself, like the day when his Samantha sneaked out of home without ever coming back. Okay, so his wife left him, I'm assuming, and that's why he's such a grumpy bastard. So his traits, these traits, as far as I know, are completely randomly generated. So there is obviously a set of traits, and they get assigned randomly. So next time you play, Jacob might not actually have these traits. Now he's up and running. His fatigue decreases faster. That is very good, and he's strong-willed. Very good. So his depression is actually not going to go up as much. That is really, really good. And then they can learn more traits as they level up. You can see here's level 1, so they can gain experience and so on. Here's the skills as we already seen. It's just the breakdown of the 4 sections in a more localized summary for the person that you're looking at. And he seems to be very good at stealth. He seems to be very good at knowledge. And he seems to be hunting and fishing. So for hunting and fishing and harvesting and cooking, these are all things you don't need at the early game. What you need in the early game is scavenging and stealth and knowledge, intelligence, and yeah, that a little bit as well. So we're not sure yet where we're going to put him. Then in the last section you have the relationships. So each character shows you the relationship they have with the other people. So Jacob, for example, is not really getting on a lot with anybody. Now Alice seems to be like a very understanding person for most things. Now she's a bit of a pain, as you can see later as well. And a lot of these characters have their own personal traits which you may like or dislike. So he reminds me a lot, Jacob reminds me a lot of the guy that is from the Walking Dead game that had the cap on, the baseball cap, was his son, who kind of was always on your side, but then he always was this direct guy who had really weird opinions. So that's what he reminds me of. I forgot the name of the other character now. So you can go through that at your own time. You can see obviously Yuri, who is Ilyana's father, he has a good relationship with her, and she has a good relationship with him, which is important because, for example, Julia is married to Yuri, but Yuri and her don't get on. So you can see that here. He feels actually 2.5 hearts for Julia, and Julia feels 2.5. So they kind of seem to be in a okay relationship. So you can see a relationship is 0, so it's basically neutral, yeah? Now she has not a good relationship with Ilyana, which potentially is the reason why Yuri is not very happy as well. So, and Ilyana doesn't think much of Julia, so you can increase the relationships by pairing them up to do certain tasks. We're gonna get into that. Now, enough of that waffle. Now, when you're starting the game, you can see here it says it wants you to move a character to the scavenging slot. So obviously what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to look at scavenging. If we look at scavenging, now we can see that the higher the number, the better. So the highest number we have is Yuri. He most of the time seems to be the guy that you end up scavenging with, yeah? And he has a very high constitution, which is actually very, very good. So now he's usually not very good in the whole discussion department, so his depression doesn't decrease as much, I suppose, as well. So how do you prevent, actually, constitution? Does that prevent depression? No. Agility, fighting, intelligence, discussion. Intelligence? No. Medicine, knowledge, crafting, exploration, and scavenging. No, it doesn't seem to be anything that directly impacts depression, I suppose. Well, I have to look into that. Anyway, so scavenging is the highest modifier here, so we're gonna take Yuri. We could take Alejandro, and Alejandro is very good at strength and all that, and intelligence and discussions, but because he has a lot of other good traits, he could be used for a lot of other things. Meanwhile, Yuri seems to be just fitting into this one thing. If you want to select the person from this menu, you click this little arrow, and that focuses on the person, and then you literally just drag that person, move your mouse to the edge of the screen, or you use your arrows, left, right goes all the way to the right of the screen, left clicking once goes all the way to the left, up goes to the middle of the screen, and down doesn't do anything. So down actually brings you to the middle as well. So you can use either. Now, yeah, his scavenging skill, let's put him there. This character will now basically start searching the plane for food, for things, you know. Anyway, so it says there's 5 states in the game, and this is where it explains you if any of the hunger, depression, sickness, injury, or fatigue reaches 100%, they're dead. So next we're going to move 2 characters to research. Now for research, I would assume, so if we look at research, I'm assuming that intelligence would be quite important, because you can see intelligence, it says plus 5% to fatigue, increase when researching. So obviously it would be good, or high intelligence, because that means they actually don't get as fatigued doing their job, which is very good. So we're gonna take definitely Ilyana, and she seems to be basically all the time as well ending up being the one that you do research with, even though the numbers are pretty random. So let's see who else is pretty intelligent. Now, you don't have to have 2 people edit, you can have 1 person edit, but in the moment the game does want you to just put 2 people on it. Now, I think it's actually great that Julia has, she has low knowledge, which basically means that she could slow down research, but she has a very high intelligence. And I think it might be also of benefit, instead of putting someone in with a huge knowledge, to, actually, I'm just thinking, it would increase their relationship, having them working together potentially, but maybe from a knowledge perspective, I don't know, because I'm not sure where I'm gonna put him in. Not really sure. Yeah, I'm gonna see, because she has a lot of other high stats and other things like stealth and hunting, and her exploration is around 40, so I think I'm gonna pick... no, I'm gonna pick her, yeah. So let's pick Julia, and hopefully the relationship will increase as well, and that will only... Oh, you see, knowledge. Knowledge is the main statistic, so crap. It would be really bad, though, wouldn't it? I don't know. Well, when you have low knowledge, what will happen is, I'll show you now in a second. So the characters will search for new crafting plans. Once the progress gauge reaches 100%, you will discover a new recipe. So the efficiency of every task is tied to your specific skills. But for now, it's 3 characters to the Explorer slot. Now, you can see actually, if you don't hover your mouse over it, that the research is only 1.11 efficient because of her... I'm assuming it has partially to do that they don't like each other too much, but I think it would be good for them to work together. I will try that out. I haven't tried that before, so we'll try something new. Let's see, exploration. So if we look at people with exploration stats, with very good exploration stats, it increases by hunger, sickness, fatigue. So basically, the less fatigue, the less depression. Okay, fair enough. So if we look at exploration, yeah, exploration is here. So Winters is very good at exploration. And wow, Alice is always the kind of... There's always one character which seems to be the same. Like, Alice always seems to be the default explorer girl. Ileana always the default smart girl, and Yuri always the default scavenger, and the rest of the party kind of drops in and out, so I wonder if that's done intentionally. I'm not quite sure. So let's see who else is actually very good at good old exploration. So exploration 70, blah 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 blah, 45. So we take Winters. Let's take Winters. Yeah. And who else? Now we have 3 characters left. If we look at Bob, Bob is not your exploration type, really. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take Alejandro, because his exploration is 38, which is probably the highest out of all of them, is it? Yeah. Okay, so let's take him. They improve in the skills they needed, so they need exploration here that can actually increase in exploration skill then. So now we need to assign 2 people to the workshop. Again, you can read this, you know, pause the game. It's just tutorials telling you what to do. So let's put these 2 guys that are left on the workshop. Again, Bob most of the time ends up being the crafter. Jacob occasionally, it depends how the RNG falls. But these 2 guys, they kind of get on, they're neutral, you can see that here, and I'm a bit worried about the knowledge, but hey-ho, that's the way the cookie crumbles. We're just gonna have to try to get... I mean, I think family is important, and when you're in a disaster like this, I think it's very important that the last people you fall out with is the ones that are part of your family, because it's, you know, even if they're not your natural parents like Juliana here, I think it's still very important for Liana to realize that she needs more than her father to depend on, maybe, and maybe it's good for Juliana to realize that she, you know, doesn't have to be such a bitch. Anyway, let's move on. So these guys actually seem to have a good trio going there with the 3 hearts. So let's select the crafting recipe in the workshop. So let's open the workshop and select campfire. Now we happen to have all these ingredients at the start, of course, so as it says here, you conveniently have the exact amount of resources to craft fire. So now assign 2 last characters to craft slots at the workshop. We have just already done that. There you go. And move the okay, so it wants us to move the characters. Now, so I moved them a bit prematurely, so I think what I might have to do is move them off and on. There you go. And now we're at tutorial 5 of 13. Now we're ready. Now the days are divided into 2 parts. You have like the morning, I suppose, I don't really know. It's divided into 2 sections, yeah? You can do the whole thing twice. Now, not assigning them. You can reshuffle them again after the first half if you want. So, we click now the button to go and move on. You see, oh, 15 wood, 7 rope. That is very good. 4 tasty meals, 5 meals. Wow. 4 fruit. That is lovely. And a pillow. Nice. A coffee cup. His fatigue, his depression went up a lot, because obviously, actually it didn't go up a lot, he already had 20 from the previous conversation. Now these guys are using some of the resources to start working on the crafting, and they actually crafted the fire, which is very important now. Now usually they don't craft things that fast, and this is what I love about this game. When the guys craft something new, it appears somewhere, and you can start assigning people to it. Now, they didn't get on that well during that crafting session. Now, the girls have done really well. They have already discovered that recipe. Again, that will always happen the first time when you play through the tutorial, like the parts. Now, they're not getting on now. I hope that that will improve over time and that they will actually do get on eventually. I mean, if you force people long enough together, they're just going to have to learn how to get on. I think it's important. These guys are trio exemplare. Anyway, select the new available recipe in the workshop. So what we're going to have to do now is we're going to have to go to the workshop, and we are going to craft the sleeping area. Now, you will see that it will take quite some time, actually. It doesn't tell you how long. It depends how well the people get on and how high their skill is in crafting. So you should have picked up some food for tonight in the plane, so this won't be a problem. Crafting is important as it will add new possibilities for actions, because eventually you will run out of... you see the way the plane says 11 users left? That's it, basically. You have about 5 or 6 days you can use scavenge from the plane from, and then if you have no other means of getting food or resources, you're screwed. Okay? Good night, El Capitan, end of story. So what we have here now, they want us to basically convert some fruits into water. Now, the way water works is basically you take fruit and you convert it into water. It doesn't really... You can also give it to people for food for a couple of percentages, but most of the time you want to keep it for water, because once water is out and people can't drink, they die. So now we move the last two characters into a talking slot, the campfire. Now what they want you to do basically is they want to show you what the campfire is for, okay? The campfire, also, if you look at this, has to be stoked every now and then, or whatever you want to call it, so you have to throw more wood on to intensify it, because once it's out, you're gonna have to craft a new one, and that costs resources, and you want to kind of conserve resources as much as possible. So the campfire is basically good for lowering depression and a little bit of fatigue, yeah, because you're relaxing by the fire. Now, if we look at the most depressed people here, now the most depressed people here right now is definitely Yuri, but we do want him to continue staying on scavenging. Actually, let's see who else has a very high scavenging skill. Yuri is at 58, and the next person is Alice and Alejandro. So what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna move Alejandro over to the scavenging post, because his depression is actually quite low. It's still at 20, the default 20, which then means I can move Yuri. You don't need 3 people here at all. The game just wanted you to do that, so we move him there. Now he can't talk by himself, of course, and now the exploration of the jungle works in 2 ways. You can either assign where you want people to go. So say, for example, like in the moment it doesn't make a difference, you can only pretty much go up, yeah, because you can't go around, and this is like an island, yeah, so you can only go around here. Now once you get to about here, you can decide, like you can decide already, but again, there's not much choice, so you have to go this way. You can decide if you want to go here first, because here's, for example, it says plane wreck. This says fear number, I don't know, yeah, so, and then here it says nama, okay, I don't know. So when you're here, you can kind of decide if you want to go here first or there. So I think I will be going to here first, because I have no idea what this is. Last time I went to here, I never really got there, but I've got to go here and see if there's something awesome. Excuse me. Now, as you can see here, these guys in the last half-day round uncovered an area. Every area you uncover can have something in it, or someone in it, or anything in it. And the way this works is, like, you click on what you can always inspect, okay? You will find a suitcase, certainly coming from plane crash. I think it always finds a suitcase first, so that really doesn't change. And does it belong to anyone? We don't know. So the next thing you want to do is it allows you to search it. Now the way this works, every time you search, now this doesn't, this again is all part of the first day, yeah, of whatever the intermission that you have between the 2 parts of the day. So you don't have to do anything special to continue, and you don't waste the other half of the day. That still continues. But the interesting part is when you search, scavenging is a very important statistic for it, because obviously the higher your scavenging skill is, the more likely you bring goods back, and more goods and better goods. However, at the same time, you can see when you highlight this that the relevant data is injury, because you can get attacked. Actually, I'll tell you that in a second. Now, stealth is probably the most important after that, because stealth means you go to the case, the game does a roll, and you have a chance then to either get attacked by a monster, and these monsters are freaky. I mean, you're talking butts out of hell freaky, not like oh, jungle animals. There's some shit going on this island. I don't know, it's Dr. Moreau or whatever it was called, the island of Dr. Monroe or whatever it was, with all these freaks on it. So I'm telling you, there's some freaky shit going on. These monsters are weird, like double-headed rabbits and massive snakes and shit. So that's why the injury stats is important, because obviously if you're too injured and you have 100% injured, then you're dead. So scavenging is important. Now, who has the highest stealth? Now, she's very stealthy. She's a kid. Kids are stealthy. You know, they know how to sneak around, like to the cookie jar and, you know, and all that shit. His scavenging is really bad, which would be good if there would be one. So what we actually can do now, we know that these scenarios come up. So what we can do is we can say, okay, the easiest thing to do here is to actually raise the stealth of a person who's very good at scavenging and very close already to the point. So when he levels up and we can assign skill points, we're probably going to increase his stealth to make him our go-to search guy. Here, we could raise his scavenging levels and make him our go-to scavenging guy, which actually would be really good because his fighting is very good as well and his stealth. Now, in the moment, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna use him. He's kind of the middleman, the average guy for everything, so let's use him. Now, he has a 38% skill check. He failed, and ba-bam! I don't know what that was. Some grab thing was a hammerhead for a claw. I have no idea. Okay, so he got a little bit injured, but he's no sissy about it. Is there something useful in the tourist bags? Hopefully so. And we found 8 fabric and 1 psychological magazine and 3 painkiller. Very good. Now we're gonna go back to the camp, and we'll see now his injury. You can see every time you hover over a person, you see there, you see depression and fatigue, but Alejandro, you see injury, fatigue, and depression. And that's what I meant earlier by that it only shows you the important information. If you want to see obviously detailed information, you go into the character sheet, but that is just so we can see what's going on. So let's finish that first day. We can leave everybody else. I mean, everybody's pretty cool, like nobody gets too depressed or anything. Now we need somebody to talk to Yuri. So as an exploration, we don't really need much. Let's take who else is depressed? One of the crafting guys. Is he more depressed than the other? Let me see. He's only a 12 depression. So let me see. Well, research is important in crafting, exploration not as much. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take Winters actually out, and I'm gonna make her talk to the guy. I mean, she's a doctor as well. I know doctors are not psychiatrists, but you know, they've seen their fair share of pain, so maybe that will help. Now, what it wants you to do now is use an item, and that's just to teach you that you can use items. When you click on your trunk here, on your big trunk, you open the inventory and this is what you have. Now, for example, we just found a Psycho Mark, which actually improves your discussion ability by 5. So we can give that actually to someone. So seeing that his discussion ability is pretty shit, we probably should, regardless of what the game wants us to do, also give him the magazine, because it would be really good for him just to increase his ability to actually talk, to lower his chance of to increase his chance of getting depression reduced more by talking. Now, here we see that lowers injury, so if we would theoretically go to him, it's a waste, I'm not going to use it now, yeah, so it would cure 20% of injury. Now, we're going to give someone coffee. You see, when you click on the items, it gets the relevant statistic as well, so let's see who is actually the highest fatigued here. So the highest fatigued would be... And let's give it to him. Yeah, fatigue and depression. Yeah, actually, yeah, that's very good. Let's get him right down, because at least then we can alternate him with Bob on the crafting table. Now, what the game wants you to do further. Oh shit! I thought I closed the window. I accidentally gave him a tablet. Bastard. So the game now wants you to continue or click on the map in the area to go to the uncovered square. We already did that, so I was kind of jumping ahead a little bit. My apologies. Now it says you can freely interact with objects. When you're finished with the object, go back to the camp and click on next. So now it wants us to click next, and we're gonna move on. So these guys will have a chat, hopefully. Now let's see, 6 wood, very good, 6 rope. Now you kind of always want to have a guy scavenging, because food is very, very important. Oh, we found an axe as well. I think they always find an axe. Like, it's randomly the amount of food they find, but in the beginning, on the first day, they always find that axe. He increased in crafting, very good. Now, they're using the pillow and the rope and the wood, because they're obviously planning on making the beds. So, their fatigue is going up, but now their relationship is going up. That's very good. See, forcing people together works. Now, these guys I'm a bit worried about. Nice. Excellent. So, you see, they're doing well. So let's keep these guys forced together. It might be good for their dad to see them getting on. Very good. And look at that. So, this is lovely. Everybody's friendly together now. That is brilliant. And now here we go on the beach. Now, she only... she uncovered actually something new. Very good. She is absolute ace. Now, this is the interesting part. At the end of every day... This is where the game could either throw you a curveball and get everybody's statistics completely messed up, or good things happen and statistics improve. Now, not your skills, your actual statistics like depression and stuff, yeah? In general, this is where the personalities of the people comes out, yeah, and things can change drastically. Some people are real bitches and asses, yeah, and others are really inappropriate and don't know it. Like, she has a tendency of being quite inappropriate in a lot of ways, like, yeah. He seems to be always kind of neutral, but he can get a bit freaky as well sometimes. So Alejandro is like, okay, good work everyone, I know it's hard, but we scavenged some food in that damn plane. Exactly, so that's always the first conversation they have on the first day. I'm sure we'll find more if we continue to search the place. Absolutely. Bob. But it will only last for a few days. After that, we will be on our own. Anyone know how to hunt? That's very good. He's a bit panicky, but he's thinking ahead. Okay? Oh, of course. Who else? Jacob. I do, but not with my bare hands. Which kind of indicates that if you do something, if you build something, he might be used to hunt. Alejandro, we will need to find or craft some tools. Let's share the food we found right now. Very good. Alice, we should ration our daily meals, which makes sense. Dr. Winters, and water too. Without water, the average person dies after only 3 days. That's fair enough. Thank you for the input. A frightening thought. Very good. Yeah. Now, Ileana is like, don't worry, we can make juice out of the fruits. The island is covered in jungle. We'll find plenty. So she's cheerful. Yes. That was a very good idea you had today, Ileana. We need plenty of those if we want to last until everybody's happy. This is a really good conversation, really good discussion the guys are having. And then there's Julia. What help? Who's probably the most sinister of them all. Alejandro doesn't know what to say to that. And Alejandro's like, we should at least try to reach the jungle. Maybe someone lives there. Yeah, perhaps. And if we find a big tiger, we are dead. Nah, don't worry. We just throw you to the tiger. We will be just fine. That's literally what I would reply. Gobsmacked. Not sure what to say. Well, tomorrow is another day. Thank you, Alice, for rescuing Alejandro, because he would have said something really bad probably if he would have said something else. Good night, everyone. Good night, Alice. He's still in a complete shock. Now, everybody's hunger went up. The depression didn't go up yet. So each night, or almost, your characters will chat with each other, so which obviously indicate if they're all pissed off with each other, they won't talk to each other. There are conditions to trigger these dialogues and randomized elements, so you won't have the same dialogues each new game. Now in the beginning everything is kind of the same, but then from there on, once the tutorial is over, it's not. So you must now share the food between your characters. Each food has its own nutrition value, and perishable food has a chance to degrade each night, so choose well. Drag and drop meals on your character and click on next when everyone is fed. Now, the way this works is like, these meals here are called, I think, good meals or something. These ones are called normal meals, or I don't know, whatever the names are, yeah? But every night there's a chance that some of this food perishes into this level food, and some of this level food perishes into barely edible food. When you get fish and meat, it's the same problem. Every night there's a chance that some of this perishes into that. And then once this perishes, it's gone. It's off the table. Funny enough, as a non-perishable food is fruit, I suppose they just put that in there so you can continuously build that up, you know, for water. You can also get beef jerkies. I don't know if you can cook them or not. I know you find them sometimes, but I got in one to day 14 where I was about to craft the cooking pot, but then everybody died because I didn't have the materials to craft it, and I didn't know what to do really, so everybody died. Okay, you can't click anything on the map while you're in that evening scenario, so you can't really move to your stations or anything, it's just locked in there. So let's feed everybody. Now 10 to 20%, that's a very good start. Let's yeah, let's give everybody here some of that and hope for the good RNG gods to work. Very nice. Sweet. Oh, come on, Winters, you have to eat. Nice. Bob, gotta eat. He got a very bad roll here. Now she's getting a good roll on that. He's getting an okay roll on that. And she's getting an okay roll on that. Very good. Now we might actually just drop one of this on here. And then we'll leave that here because we need the fruit for water. Ah, yeah, no, just... No, leave it at 4%. It doesn't matter. We'll see what we find. I don't want to waste the whole 20 to 30% here on this jazz, you know? So that's good. So let's go next. Now, at each end of the day, you get a summary, and it says, oh, fire intensity has been lowered to 24, so you need to burn the fire again with sticks. Water supply is down by 8. We have 57 remaining. 4 out of our 8 tasty meals, that's what they're called. Tasty meals have degraded into meals, and then the meals convert into barely edible meals or something. Alejandro is depressed. I'm not surprised by the conversation here with Juliana. Well, I don't know what Juliana gets depressed for. She must be feeling really good about herself. And they're all getting sleepy and tired now slowly. So Yuri is moody. I don't know. He always seems moody. I wish I would know what he's moody about. Hopefully getting Ilyana and Julia working together and bonding more will help his state. I hope. I don't know. That's just my best guess. I'm thinking there's some realism in there somehow. And here we are on the second day. So that is the end of the tutorial mission, and I will continue going through a couple of days, and I will see how I get on. Hopefully I won't kill everybody. And you guys just please, you know, let me know your feedback in the comments, you know. And of course, as always, if you do enjoy these episodes and you do enjoy this game, kick the like button in the arse like the gaming ninjas you are, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And if you're not subscribed yet, have a look through my channel. If there's something you like, maybe I can welcome you soon to the home of the G4K ninjas. And until then, viel Spaß and happy gaming.